Well, here's the update. I did get that dash apart. I wished I hadn't done it, and I have no idea if I can put it back together. That was a nightmare. There's 8,000 bolts you can't even see or get to. You pretty much have to do it in one piece. That's the bottom part of the dash. The top part of the dash is leaning on the wall. You can kind of see past the steering wheel. I thought that you could separate the top from the bottom with just a handful of bolts, but I bet you there was 20 bolts and screws holding the two just together. That has nothing to do with the mounting to the actual car. And I really thought that I could leave the bottom part of the dash and pull the top. It will not let you do it. So, with that said, I don't know what I'm going to do. The bottom part of the dash, it had a couple pieces already broke, and then I probably broke, I know for sure I broke one. It already squeaked and rattled and stuff, so I'm really going to have to look into how to, when I tighten this all back up, put it back together, how to make this not, whether I have to put something between it, whether it be foam or, something to try to help seal it up. And I still got to pull that bottom box out, and it's kind of dark. Let's see if I can get to that heater core. Now, obviously, would be the time to do it. So I'll get in there and see what it takes to replace that. Anyway, there were some things in the car that I had no idea what it is. The clock did not work, and the wires weren't hooked to it. Everything else was hooked up, but both gauges are bad. Well, out of the gauges, I'll show you. Here is the fuel gauge worked, but it jumped around. Here's a temperature gauge. You can see the red needle sticking out the bottom. So obviously we have a problem there. The vacuum gauge worked, which was actually fuel economy. Speedometer worked. This indicator did not. The cable was broke on it. The volt did not work, and I can't tell if there's a deal down there. Now, the clock did not work. However, like I said, it wasn't hooked up, so I may put 12 volts on that thing here after a while, just to mess around. I'm looking at how this is designed, and custom making a dash is not something I have done, and I've seen people attempt to make stuff on their own, and usually, I hate to say this, it looks like crap. I'm probably not going to try it. I'm going to try to reuse the dash that was there and then try to do something with that pad. I'm not really sure what yet. Nobody's remaking the pads. They're just putting, like I said, the caps, and the caps don't last. I put one on this thing a few years ago, and I've said this before. I did not glue it down, but I did set it on there, and it was there about a week or so, and when I came out, it was all warped and melted, and it was crap, and it was $100 down the tubes, and I'm not going to do that again. So I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. Yeah, it had a couple of speakers. Obviously, most of them had speakers, which I would make that hole go away. I probably wouldn't put speakers back there again, although it wouldn't be a bad idea, because there's no way without cutting holes in the the kick panels, which I hate doing. I used to do it, and now that I'm older and wiser, I guess you might, maybe I am wiser, I don't know. But, I don't like doing it. So, and this thing's actually pretty heavy. So it's got some type of it's a rubberized deal. It's hard here and then rubberized where it's sealed up against the vinyl on the outside. It's something. I thought it was going to be a little less. I thought it was going to be literally almost like a piece of steel and then just had the vinyl wrapped around it, but it's not how it is. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And then there was something else. It may have gone with it. I don't know if it had an AM FM radio, 8-track, I don't know what it was, but this thing was mounted up there on top of the dash and it wasn't hooked to anything, which tells me it was probably part of the original radio. Of course, that radio was long gone before I got it, but it's got cooling fins on it. Let me turn it around here. That's upside down, but I assume it was part of the original radio. Don't know. I took it out, obviously. Like I said, it wasn't hooked up, so whatever it was, it's no longer there. But anyway, I'm going to see what it's going to take to get some floors put in, and then I'm going to go through all the wiring harness to see if there's anything that's, most everything in the car worked besides the gauges. The dome light, the turn signal, I mean, most every light, every gauge that was needed was working. That's why I didn't know whether to go build something somewhat custom. It's got that fake wood green stuff, and I mean, I could make that go away, and I could actually, I think every once in a while people are selling those gauges, but I think they're kind of high, and the senders aren't hooked up. So I would literally have to find the senders, and then all the wiring, it's still under the hood. I've seen them there, and then hook them up. And I don't know if it's worth it or not, or whether to take those out and put my gauges in it, which they don't fit the holes right. But it's possible I can make that work. That way they're up kind of out of the way, and like put the temperature and the oil pressure on the right side there where the clock and the volt gauge is, and then just leave that temperature one either empty or whatever, not put anything there, because it's kind of hard to run that temperature gauge. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, because I'm actually going to have to unplug the temperature gauge from the block or from the head and pull it out through to put it somewhere else. So we'll kind of see how it goes. The fuel gauge I'll leave. If this was like in my Malibu, where it had that long sweepy box style speedometer with no other gauges besides the fuel gauge, it would be a lot easier to put something aftermarket in. But this thing, again, is somewhat unique. This isn't a normal gauge layout for these. Most of them are just those box, those rectangle shaped sweep gauges, and all you got was a fuel gauge and that a speedometer, and then you had dummy lights, and that's what mine has besides the aftermarket stuff I put in it. So again, this is unique, and I hate getting rid of it. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but what a mess, guys, what a mess. If you ever want to take one of these projects on, understand there's a lot of parts to a car, and some of them are easier to work on than others, but hindsight, I probably should have just got a piece of that carpet that they make for these and cover the dash with it and just call it even. I don't know. I got screws and stuff laying everywhere. I've bagged and tagged a lot of stuff. The climate control I actually left hooked up. You could actually push it through the dash. The only thing I unhooked was the light, just to kind of move it around. So nothing from the climate control has been unhooked. Headlight switch is still hooked up. Windshield wiper switch. Most of that stuff, goes through the dash. You don't have to unplug it. So I don't know, guys. We'll punt, and next time we get on here, I'll have something either done or whining about something. So all right, we'll talk to y'all later.